As you know, the United Nations is currently discussing the issue of Jerusalem and the holy places. The State of Israel is a member of the United Nations not because of political convenience, but because its traditional, deep seated commitment to the vision of world peace and the brotherhood of nations, as preached by our prophets and accepted by the United Nations. This membership obliges us, from the podium of Israel's first Knesset, to tell all the nations assembled in the United Nations and all those who love peace and justice in the world what has been in Israel's heart since it became a united nation under King David 3,000 years ago, as regards Jerusalem, its holy city, and as regards its attitude to the places which are holy to the other religions. When we proclaimed the establishment of the renewed State of Israel on May 14th, 1948, we declared that, quote, the State of Israel will guarantee freedom of religion and conscience, of language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places of all religions. It will be loyal to the principles of the United Nations Charter, unquote. Accordingly, our delegation to the United Nations announced that Israel would honor all the existing rights regarding the holy places and sacred buildings in Jerusalem, assure freedom of worship and free access to all the holy sites under its control, recognizing the rights of pilgrims of all religions and nations to visit their holy places, and assuring freedom of movement for clergymen. We agreed to allow effective United Nations supervision of the holy places and the existing rights in a way that would be agreed to by Israel and the United Nations. At the same time, we see it fit to state that Jewish Jerusalem is an organic, inseparable part of the State of Israel, just as it is an integral part of Jewish history and belief. Jerusalem is the heart of the State of Israel. We are proud of the fact that Jerusalem is also sacred to the other religions and will gladly provide access to their holy places and enable them to worship as and where they please, cooperating with the United Nations to guarantee this. We cannot imagine, however, that the United Nations would attempt to sever Jerusalem from the State of Israel or harm Israel's sovereignty in its eternal capital. Twice in the history of our nation were we driven out of Jerusalem, only after being defeated in bitter wars by the larger, stronger forces of Babylon and Rome. Our links with Jerusalem today are no less deep than in the days of Nebuchadnezzar and Titus Flavius, and when Jerusalem was attacked after the 14th of May, 1948. Our valiant youngsters risked their lives for our sacred capital no less than our forefathers did in the times of the first and second temples. A nation that, for 2,500 years, has faithfully adhered to the vow made by the first exiles by the waters of Babylon not to forget Jerusalem, will never agree to be separated from Jerusalem. Jewish Jerusalem will never accept alien rule after thousands of its youngsters liberated their historic homeland for the third time, redeeming Jerusalem from destruction and vandalism. We do not judge the United Nations, which did nothing when nations, which were members of the United Nations, declared war on its resolution of November 29th, 1947, trying to prevent the establishment of Israel by force, to annihilate the Jewish population in the Holy Land and destroy Jerusalem, the holy city of the Jewish people. Had we not been able to withstand the aggressors who rebelled against the United Nations, Jewish Jerusalem would have been wiped off the face of the earth, the Jewish population would have been eradicated, and the State of Israel would not have arisen. Thus, we are no longer morally bound by the United Nations resolution of November 29th, since the United Nations was unable to implement it. In our opinion, the decision of November 29th regarding Jerusalem is null and void. The attempt to sever Jewish Jerusalem from the State of Israel will not advance the cause of peace in the Middle East or in Jerusalem itself. Israelis will give their lives to hold on to Jerusalem, just as the British would for London, the Russians for Moscow, and the Americans for Washington. This is the first time in this country's history that the state controlling Jerusalem willingly accepts the principle of international supervision of the holy places. It is no coincidence that it is being done by the nation that made Jerusalem an internationally sacred center and by the first government elected by the inhabitants of Jerusalem. We hope that the religions which honor Jerusalem's sanctity and the nations which share our belief in the principles of peace and justice will honor Israel's rights in Jerusalem, just as Israel honors those of all the religions in its sacred capital and sovereign state.